Good afternoon and welcome back. A few reminders before we start this session. Please remember to silence all your devices. Please also download the AWS Global Summits app. It is where you can share your feedback with us after each session, and you can redeem an AWS branded swag after the completion of a survey. All AWS sessions you see today are being recorded and available after the session via content devices on exit. Now, please welcome to the stage Aditi Gupta from AWS, who will present on Building Intelligent Applications, No Machine Learning Experience Required. Aditi, please.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for staying back for this session. I know it's late in the afternoon, but I'll try my best to make it as interesting for you as possible, as knowledge-filled and filled with lots of demos. I know people from techie side, if they don't show demos, we feel a little, crippled. So I'll try my best to show a lot of demos. There are about 4 actually. So please help me pray to the demo gods that all 4 of them work for you all and you're able to enjoy the session. Let's get started. So I'm going to show you not just the demos, which are just part of it, but I'm going to cover basically the different use cases that you see in the public sector when you're looking at the machine learning without not having any knowledge of machine learning per se, but how exactly can you use them. We'll go deep dive into some of the architectures to see how do you bring these AWS services, which I would term as Lego blocks, to see what solution you're building, and then we'll go down into some of these services, and that's where you'll see the demos. So I have a few slides which I need to present really quickly, walk through them, because these slides get put up on SlideShare, and I just want to ensure that the people who are seeing it get context of it. So we'll be looking at various use cases, basically, I think it's working at a different pace than I'm, okay. So basically looking at modernizing the citizen services to improving the education, improving outcomes in education or healthcare, and a lot more there. So let's say what do you really mean by modernizing your constituent services. We'll be looking at an architecture, but let's think of it that you're today having probably a contact center or something, and if you want to analyze those calls which come in, you want to search and see what is the content which is going on, what are the most queries, and maybe you want to reduce the number of calls. How exactly do you do that? That is something which we'll be seeing when you're modernizing. There are a lot more aspects to it which we'll be looking at, but there are a lot of aspects which we'll be looking at, but we'll get to that there. Again, improving education outcomes. We'll see an example there to see how exactly do you improve, or how exactly are we using the ML services to improve some of the outcomes. I have an example here. Let's take a specific customer case. What we have is, sorry, can you shift back to the presentations? Yep. So what we have here is the case of one of our customer reference, which is Echo 360. So Echo 360 is a video content delivery platform which has about 2 million users from US to Australia. And what they are doing is when they are delivering the content in the class, there is a live transcription which is going on of the content as the lecturers speak. So thereby the students who are focusing on the class are able to see a view of the transcription using Amazon Transcribe Live, and they are able to highlight what looks interesting to them. If there are some information that they would like to go back and see, they are easily able to go back and see that. And how it helps is now they are able to focus on the class and actual content rather than worrying about taking down each word that the professor is saying. I used to do that. I was very good at taking it down with multiple colors, but obviously I missed some content. I wish this was there when I was a student, but anyways, I'm still here. Thinking of healthcare, which is again really upcoming in what we are working on, lots of use cases there as well. Let's take another use case, how one of our customers is using it. So Beth Israel is one of the leading medical schools from Harvard Medical University. And what they have to do is they have to identify the critical medical forms before any medical procedure or any surgery to be fulfilled. Now this was a manual process till some time back. Eventually they started using Amazon Comprehend, whereby they would take the forms which have been filled up, look at the content, and before the actual search or actual process, they will get the information to, this overall helped in reducing the number of cancelled or delayed procedures because of not getting the relevant information in time of allergies or something. So this is how we used Comprehend Medical. I will be demonstrating the Comprehend Medical later for you to see how did they really, or what advantages do we get when we are using Comprehend Medical. At the end of the day, whatever, the basic theory of your digital content management or anything remains same, that what goes inside is essentially right content delivered to the right users is what will give you the right insights, will give you the right power to the users. The 4 steps have always remained same. You collect it in some format, store the data, you enrich it, and then you deliver it in one format or the other. So which pretty much remains. Now, now you're looking at, it's not just about the medical, it's not just about the education, but we are doing more complex use cases in fraud analytics or finding out where the anomalies are. So you've seen some of the security related stuff in the previous session presented by Shazli. But what I'm presenting you again in form of one of the customer case studies is FINRA. FINRA is our foreign finance regulatory authority, which processes nearly 135 billion transactions every day. On top of that, it is also having different kind of challenges where it is having all sorts of emails or documents or forms to be factored in and analyzed to ensure that there are no frauds or any such thing happening. So how do they do it? They pipe in their all the email chains and all and see that are there any related patterns or similar patterns where they have found a pre-existing fraud or something in the past, and thereby they are able to analyze those. So again, they have been using Comprehend as well. So Comprehend has 2 flavors, Comprehend and Comprehend Medical. I'll be demonstrating them to you later, but this gives you a good idea that how some of the innovative technologies have been building up and using these AI services which are available out of the box without really having to do any development or any training there. You can just use those applications out of the box. This is where our complete AI stack comes in. Let's look at the AI stack. When we are talking of AWS ML, AI ML stack, essentially we are looking at 3 layers. So on the top are the services which are available out of the box. The deep learning models are already trained for you based on the learnings that we have from our Amazon or AWS or from this thing. So you have those models already trained and available for you as the APIs to use. This is what I'll be demonstrating today, but it's good to know the other layers of the AI, of the ML stack that we have. So as you go down, you will see that you're getting more to the native applications, like you go to layer 2, you have the SageMaker, where if you are a data scientist and you want to build your own models, you're able to use these. Or you further down, if you look at it, there are all, other further frameworks, ML frameworks, which are supported. There are also GPU or FPGA instances. Again, FPGA instances are something which are supported only in AWS cloud at the moment. So those are some of the things which are available, but today we are not talking about that. That is not the focus today. Let's go and look at what the AI services are. So like I said, they are pre-trained AI services which with the models, and also this also means that if you're looking for some images or other thing to train for your specific purpose, then probably these are not the models to be used. These do not give you that capability where you can say that, hey, if I want to input my own data, can I train my data subject to my own requirements? No, sorry, it does not. But what it already does or already knows, you're able to use it. That's where the whole this thing comes, that you're able to use them out of the box. Let's look at some of the architectures a bit in detail to see how these small Lego pieces are coming together to give you the relevant outcomes that you might be interested in. So let's look at a contact center. If you were building a contact center. Now, when I say Lego blocks, I do want to again highlight that what this means is, on one side, you can integrate it with other AWS services. It also means that you could be using it with other pre-existing solutions that you might have, so you don't really need to avail the Amazon Connect, which is our online call center powered by chatbots. You could be just powering it up, the whole architecture or whole background AI services. You could just be using it with your existing call center system and get the power of the analytics, let's say, for example. So coming back to the example, to the architecture. So let's say there is a call which comes to the Amazon Connect, our online call center. It gets recorded in our S3, so you get the recording. You can also do a contact trace to see who is the caller and stuff, and then you could pull out more information from your different information systems that you have. At the same time, you can pipe this information which you have got through various Lambda functions. Lambda, which is our serverless compute. You can create a whole pipeline of the Lambda functions to say what next, which is called the step functions. So the Lambda functions itself can go through Amazon Transcribe, which is your transcription service, doing your voice to text transcription. Then you can again put it up with the pipeline to say certain decisions are done or not. Again, you can pipe it to comprehend, which analyzes the entities and all, and give you meaningful insights on like entities, key phrases, sentiment and all. Again, these findings or whatever information has been extracted from these can be piped to Elasticsearch, where you could go and do more analytics, and finally you could again have it with your on-prem information or Kinesis data streams and stuff, and finally you could have some insights and dashboards built. This is just one small piece of the bigger picture that you might have. There are many more flows that you could build, but gives you a quick idea of what you could do, how you could bring these services together. Let's take another example, innovate digital content management. So how can you do that? Again, it's pretty similar, this thing, just these services are piped a little differently to achieve a different purpose. So again, you have input of data. It could be streaming data through Kinesis data streams. It could be your just bulk update. You just update the data that you have. It could be existing forms and all, so you just update it in various forms, various formats. I mean, you can save it on simple storage service, then again use extract to draw out information, comprehend, run through Elasticsearch directly, and output based on different things. So different ways of presenting different data. You can further pipe it to, let's say, DynamoDB and further things there. Let's quickly look at some of these services a bit in detail. Now that you've had the idea of the use cases, you've had the idea of some of the architectures that could be built together. Let's start diving into some of these services and see how quick and easy they are, how effective they are, and how do you get those outcomes. So demo, please. So the first service that I'm showing you is Textract and comprehend. Sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things. Okay. It always happens, with the pressure, I forget my password, and now I'm there. Okay. So what we have is Textract. Textract is our service which automatically detects and extracts text, forms, tables. So let's look at how it would typically look like. This is just a document where there is table, and if you see on the right side, this is just the raw text which has been presented to you. You can also identify forms. So if you look on the left side, there is file, full name, phone number and all, and that would have come here in the forms. It would have full name and phone number. So whatever be the format, there is no specific format and all, you just put it in and you can see. And also for tables, so it has correctly identified the table with column, and also most times even when you do a copy paste or something from one of the desktop applications that you have, you typically face this challenge where it doesn't really copy the table as it is. Now this wouldn't be fun if I don't show you something live. So let's try and upload and document. So what I have is a mock pathology report. I'll open it. Now if you notice, this document is kind of tilted, and sometimes when you're scanning, or there are bulk of documents, you wouldn't really be having time, or if you're spending time aligning them, what's the whole fun? That's still taking time for you to scan and all. So you see, as I spoke to you, the document has been identified. Now, of course, you are not expected to read that document. So let me show to you what it would have looked like if it was straight. Let me zoom it for you, and you see some of the content there has been directly or has been rightly identified. So you can see those, there is a tumor size which I see here. This has been identified. All right. So what I would do is, again, these are just Lego boxes, blocks which I'm showing. I have not piped them together, which you would typically do. So I would download the result. I've just, for the sake of simplicity, I've just downloaded. It would have been a zip file. And if you see here, if you're able to see there, basically it would have given me 3 files there. So let me just take the raw text here. It's just the same files. I've just arranged it to quickly show them and save on time. And from here I would go to comprehend. So my idea is to pipe it to comprehend. Again, this in real world you wouldn't really do manually, but just to give you an idea of how things were. Before I show and actually pasting this, let me show you comprehend. So if you look at it, this is a default example which we had. So this had some text here, and if you go down, it finds out the entities. It finds out different key phrases there. So if you scroll down in the sample that was there, you could see there are entities. It has already identified the categories and the confidence with which it can say that this was an entity or this was a location or date or whatever. So you see, it is giving you more details. Now let's go back to our comprehend medical, which is where our target point, which I was showing you that some of us have, that some of the Beth medical school and all were using. So this is again a sample which is available out of the box, so to demonstrate. So if you see here again, they have a sample where once I input the raw text, it identifies the age, it identifies the profession, but most importantly, it also identifies the meds and all. Let's not look there. Let's go back and paste the content which I had copied and see how good is it in analyzing what I have put. And trust me, this is just a random report. I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know how good or bad that is. Let's say analyze. Now all these services are available through AWS SDK or API, so you can easily pipe into your existing applications and see. Now again, let's look at it. The analyzed text show us the clinical history. It shows us the diagnosis. It shows us the system organ site, which is so basically it's piping to all the medical terms that would have done. It says the transcription, the diagnosis is a tumor. It also shows the different tests and their values. Yeah, see here, test name and the test value, which has already been identified. So you could go around and just play with these. And this is a graphical representation, but as you scroll down, this is a file which you could download on your system and check out how it works. So if you see here, it's not only identifying the identities, telling you what type of data it is, but it's also giving you a category, whether it is a PHI information or something. It's telling you the medical condition and anatomy. So once you download this file, you can actually pipe it, save it to DynamoDB, which is your NoSQL database, and then further run analytics, and run different kind of reports and see what you want to use it for. Okay, back to the presentation, please. So this was a very quick overview of how some of our customers were using services like comprehend medical and extract, again piping it. Let's look at, so quickly, a quick recap is this is for the text extraction, table extraction, form extraction. This is something which I've already showed. Like I said, because the slides go up on the slide share, I've just put it there in case I was not able to present something. Let's go back to the demo, sorry, to the AV team, but let's look at seeing how we are able to predict the future. Now this is something which is a very difficult problem, because think of it, if we all were able to predict the future, we would all be rich, probably invest in the right stock, invest the right shares, and we would all probably not be sitting here just rolling into Bahamas and something. But unfortunately we are here and we are trying to solve some of those problems, see how effectively we can use it. So today what I have done is something more simpler and more mundane, which is just to predict the electricity usage. So what I had was a CSV file where I had the electricity consumption of some of our customers, that how much was the consumption per day. So there was a timestamp, there was a consumption. So it was a simple CSV file, which I had uploaded. So what I could do is simply say, view data set group. I could, of course, in this case I have created. The first, it's basically of 3 steps. So you would notice with 3 simple clicks, you really have a forecast solution ready for you. So in my case, I just uploaded the CSV file to my S3 and pointed it there. So you can just import the data. This is what my data set looked like. So to give you a quick idea, all you had to do was, now again, remember I'm talking of CSV file. There is no specified format per se which has been defined. It could be anything. So you really have to first go ahead and define your schema that you're going to use. So this is where my schema is. What I have done is simply timestamp. I have put a target value, which is the usage per day, and I have put the item ID. So in my case, I've just put the client ID. I haven't given any more additional information, but in your case, you could go and give any more additional information, like for example, weather forecast from the historical weather forecast as well, to see does that change the energy consumption or something. Or there might be, if you were looking for, let's say, predicting the consumption of a particular product and all, you might want to give the product attributes. So giving the product attributes and all will ensure that you don't have this cold start problem. That is, if there is a new customer who's added, how do you predict that what would be his usage like? Or if there was if you had a shopping cart or something, if there was a new product added, how do you ensure that you are still able to forecast in future what will happen? So these kind of parameters typically help you ensure that the cold start problem is not there, or there is sparse and where there is missing data. How do you want to treat it? All this can be configured here very quickly. I'm not going to take you through this. So later on, what I did was, once I had uploaded the CSV file, I just clicked on train predictor. So when I say train predictor, again, let me just show you some of the predictor which I did. The beauty here is, since you are not an you are not an ML expert, you don't know which machine learning algorithm I should have used, but based on data, of course, there are different data needs different kind of algorithms to be used to do that prediction. So what we have provided you here is instead where you could go and let me say, so basically you can go and look at the algorithms and see what algorithm you would like to use. It has 2 options. I'm just sorry, I think I overstepped this thing. So if I say train predictor, you basically have 2 options here. If you are someone who knows about machine learning, you can go ahead and choose a manual algorithm. So there are 5 different algorithms which have been given to you. These are the algorithms which have been developed in-house by Amazon based on the experience they have from Amazon.com and all the market research we have done. Or if you are a newbie like me, let's say, I just go and choose AutoML, and I let the system decide that based on my data, what is the best suitable algorithm for it, and let it decide and choose the options. Not just that, I also have this option of saying that perform hyperparameter optimization, which will ensure that it will go and parallelly run out a few models to choose first of all, it will find the right pattern for your data. It will find the appropriate algorithm. If it is not able to find a single one, it is further able to go and run multiple algorithms simultaneously and see which is the best fit, which is giving you the best outcome. And once you have the best outcome, it saves it, it caches it for you, deploys it for you, and in the meanwhile also does the hyperparameter optimization, again based on your choice how you want to do it. You are always charged not on the base of the consumption of how much training and all it does, but basically on how you will be consuming the APIs. So once I have done, because this training takes a little while, I have already pre-trained that for us, and let's look at using this data. So I created a few forecasts. Let me look at so I have this electricity data up to 2 p.m. today. Yeah, that's mock, of course. So up to 2 p.m. today, let's take it from midnight, and let's say I want to do it up to tomorrow. I want to have some kind of activity there. So let's say, sorry, I did not add forecast key. So I just do a forecast key, and I say I want to do it for client 21, a random one, of course. So I say get forecast. And if you see here, you will see that this was the historical historical plan, and then we had about this as the forecast. Let me show you another one. So we have so this is how the pattern changes live. You can just use these ones. Again, in the interest of time, instead of switching back and forth, let me just go and take you to the next demo. My next demo is on changing how we interact with the this thing. So gone are the days where you want your usual ways of having a mobile app or web. Let's do something new, and that's where we have Sumerian, our AR/VR host. So what I've done here is I have built a demo to for my host to interact with a Lex bot, which is a chat bot, which is running behind a natural language understanding based chatbot, and I've used this to order flowers. Now in this case it is certain specific function. You can of course add it and link it to your other backend systems and get more information from there from database and stuff. Let's just run this demo where I show you how to order flowers and all and see how it is behaving. I also want to tell that all I have done, this was all built under 30 minutes. And with all the contents and all that I had. Also, I have not added any expressions or anything. This is something which happens automatically when the Sumerian is running based on the content, based on the pauses which are there. So when you are listening to the content, you also notice that how is the host which is behaving. It has to behave naturally, you just don't want it to stand stiff and then just repeat what has been said. So that is what is worth noting here. So let me try it. Order flowers. Okay, sorry, let me try.
What type of flowers would you like to order?
Roses. My husband is here, so for him.
What day do you want the roses to be picked up?
Well, it'll get too romantic if I order it here. Let me order it for tomorrow for some personal dinner time. Tomorrow?
Pick up the roses at what time on the 26th of September 2019?
10 a.m.
Okay, your roses will be ready for pickup by 10 o'clock on the 26th of September 2019 and will cost $25. Does this sound okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Your order for roses has been placed and will be ready for pickup by 10 o'clock on the 26th of September 2019.
Well, if you notice, the beauty of this is, I didn't have to also, when I was building the bot, there are a lot of ways in which we enter the days and all. I don't always say, give it to me on 26th of September 2019. I just said tomorrow, which is more natural for someone to understand. And that's where, again, these inbuilt data types that come into play, where the bot automatically understands that it's 26th of September. I could have also said, place it for Valentine's Day or New Year, but I realized it's too far, so I just picked it up tomorrow. I hope that's okay. That's a date to my husband. Okay. Again, in the interest of time, I'll quickly show you the third demo, and then I'll shift back and cover the salient features if we still have time left for that. Oh, I think I misread. It looks like I'm getting old. Okay, don't tell it outside this room, okay? But I still have time, but I'll quickly show you the demo for personalize. So now, what we have noticed is, forecast was one of the problems that we saw that yes, there is, but this generation is more and more about what is there in for me. I'm different from someone else, and you just cannot serve the same content to me. It could be something as simple as recommending courses if you are visiting a college website. It could be something, simply saying that what is the content that would interest me when I'm visiting a certain website, for example. So with GovTech, GCCI, different agencies have different requirements. You might want to show different content based on what the customers are facing at that point of time. So more and more personalization is something which is coming. So what I'm going to show you next is personalize, which is our recommendation and recommendation engine based on the personal interests. Of course, the demo which I have built is something which is based on something more predictable. Like I have built it up for movies recommendation. But like I said, there are a whole variety of use cases that could be thought of in this particular case. So let's go and look at personalize. Also, you would notice that user interface is pretty much similar to what we saw in forecast. So if you look at, okay, let me go back. So let me look at the different these things. So I've created different forecasts for different types of data. I'm going to show to you the movie data set which I had entered. So in the movie data set, there are again Typically, when you're looking at it, there are different kinds of data that you have to upload. The data could be about the items. Your items could be anything. Let's say if you're talking of Amazon.com or of a shopping cart or something, they're all different types of items. There could be shoes and watches and dresses and whatnot. Now, all these types of data or item details will go in your items data set. So if I have this view data set, I have different types of data. So you see items is one of them. Second is about users. Now again, users could be, details could be about like user age group, user ethnicity, their demographics and all. All the details that matter to you is something which you would put here simply in terms of providing them the data. So the most important is the interactions. So let's go and look at the interactions. Again, something similar where you have the schema, you provide the schema. So in this particular case, I have just provided something very simple as user ID, item ID, and timestamp. Timestamp is when you had that interaction. Now, interaction could be something like views. So if you're thinking of Amazon.com as a website, if I viewed the item, it is still an interaction because I showed some kind of interest in having seen that item. It could be simply saying that I looked at various options, I looked at similar items, I actually bought the item, or I checked out, but I did not actually buy it, the conversion. So there are all different kinds of interactions that happen, which is true for any of the data that you might be wanting to do. Similar for courses, similar for other stuff that you might have. So you can add all those details here. I have kept it very simple and put this thing. Then the next step that I do is, once I have the data set group, I just go, so again, I had uploaded the data sets. Now I could also ingest a live stream of events as they come in. Amazon.com, once you have the models, there are interactions which are still going on. Let me come back and tell you how do we handle those interactions which are live. Do you retrain your model or not? But let's come and shift our focus to where I had uploaded this CSV file and then we were running the models on it. So in this particular case, I did not put a live stream of data that is coming in, live interaction. I just uploaded the bulk CSV file, the historical data which I had. I said create a solution. So in my case, I had again used existing solution, again using AutoML, using hyperparameter optimization. You could have used any of the parameters. It also gives me that what is the performance of a particular algorithm or solution that we have chosen. So algorithm here are called in forecast and in this thing again are called recipes, again something which is Amazon term. So once you have this, you go create your solution and you're pretty much set to go. So literally in 3 clicks, I had the solution. You could create a new campaign. In my case, I have already created a campaign. And let's look at the result. Now, if you remember, in the main interaction that I have put was user ID, item ID, and the timestamp, the time at which this interaction happened. I have not given the details of what kind of interaction, just to keep things simple. So you will see the result or a sample here also in the form of IDs. So just to show you, let's take an example where I say 401 is the user ID which I'm trying to get the recommendation from, recommendation for, and this gives the recommended item IDs. Again, just to give you a very quick overview. Now, there are 2 things that happen here. One, you get the recommendation IDs based on, I open my Amazon.com app and there is no history of that day per se. So I tried with browsing something totally new. And then, a shoe catches my eye. So I go and look at the shoe, and then there is another search or recommendation that happens, which is based on the item which has been selected, right? Same could be for course, same could be for a library, same could be for, different things that you might have. So again, you can go and assuming that I had selected one of these products. So let's say 514 is top on the list. Let me just say, you say get recommendations, and you see the recommendations change a little based on what was the item ID which was added. Now, given this is not a very quick and easy way to understand how it is really working. So let me show you the UI that I have built. Again, because this is an API, what you did was all that you were concerned with providing the data inputs and then getting the outputs. So that was what the system does really well. And for those who have been using SageMaker, you would also feel that, this is something which I could have done in the SageMaker as well. So again, with SageMaker, yes, it looks still similar if you look at the actual work that goes underneath. But in this particular case, you don't have to do the heavy lifting for you. We do that for you, and you are able to just consume the content. So this API could have been piped into the Sumerian bot, Sumerian host, which I just showed you, or I could have built a UI like a website, or it could have been an app. So let me just try and show you. So basically, if you look at it, there are different models which have been shown here and their effectiveness for this. So let's take a random user and see how the recommendation works. So based on the user, you see the user ID profile is, the age is 19, it is male and student, and based on that, there are some recommendations. Let's change a little. Let's do a personal ranking, and based on the user's reviews for user, let's say 729, who has rated these particular movies, it has given and picked out certain recommendations. So you can further go ahead and further select and give more recommendations based on including, let's say, including demographics I want to show. And you will see that these are the top movie reviews that this user has done. This is personalized based on the personal recommendation, and if you also include their demographics information, that is also included, and that's how you basically get to see it. Quickly back to the presentation, please. I'll just quickly finish it. So my demos are finished, and I hope this gave you a very quick overview of what we have. Basically, what I have is in the PPT itself. Later on, when you'll be rating the session and giving a feedback, you will basically be also getting this this presentation to see what all we have already covered. So you still have the content. It's not lost because the demos are not there. So you can still go back and see. I have pretty much added that content on what the processes are involved. So you can look at forecast, the algorithms which are there. We are talking about Sumerian, how you can build other 3D virtual tours and stuff. You could be talking, it's talking about the different cloud first approach to assets. How do you quickly build those scenes? These are natively integrated with various AWS services, and especially with services like PolyLex, which are essential to these building these kind of demos or these kind of solutions for yourself. The beauty of this is, in case if you notice that this is based on WebXR, that means it is device independent. So all I was doing was running it from a browser. So as long as I have a browser, I was able to run this. So it makes it device independent. Using this, there are new innovative ways of how you're interacting with your customers. Again, the solution for this would remain same even if there was an occult device or anything, it pretty much remains same. Similarly, for personalize, it's similar content that we have used. The process pretty much remains the same. That's what I have highlighted for you. The algorithms have been highlighted a bit for you. How you can pipe it. And coming back to it, I have not been able to cover all the services on the top as I would like to. I like to show a lot more demos, but unfortunately, given the short time that we had, I've tried to cover some of the latest ones, and I hope you found them beneficial. I quickly also wanted to tell you about the ML training university that we have. You could just go, some of this content is just free. You could go and try it out. Also, we have the ML Solutions Lab. So this helps you in engaging with, working closely with the ML experts in AWS. So your team is paired together with ML experts. And in case you have some more complex solutions, we can help you in that with the ML Solutions Lab. Please do visit ml.aws to learn more about these, or later I would be available at the essay booth. Just feel free to walk over to me and get some more inputs. Please don't forget to finish the session survey. Thank you. Thank you for your time and staying back. Thanks.
Thank you, Aditi. Please remember to submit your feedback on this session in the app to redeem a free AWS branded swag at the Ask the Experts zone. If you're interested in having a copy of the slides, please tap your badge on the content devices at the exit. The next session in this room is Want to Accelerate